Hey, all right. Hey, folks, so we're going to continue working on martial powers. We're making Ravnica characters using the martial power system that we've been developing here online over the past year. So give me a second here to check my signal, make sure we're coming through clear. I'm going to just boost real quick that I'm live. And then we'll build we're going to build a Golgari Ranger Swarmkeeper today. So yeah, we're making a Rubble Belt campaign. It's going to be third level. It's going to go from third level to ninth level in about 5 months. And we're creating a stack of pre-generated characters in case the one that you come to the table with gets killed. You can just grab a character off the stack and keep going. That's just courteous. You know, potentially says it's playtesting. It's not necessarily dialed in at third level, so there could be unexpected fatalities. So having a stack of side characters, we'd want you to switch up and to diversify what you play each week anyway. Just to tinker with mechanics and play with different character styles. But today we're going to specifically mess around inside of Golgari. So here is the here's the Martial Powers playtest content. It is actually, if you click here, here's the full playlist of all 112 episodes to date that we've had in developing both this and the Rubble Belt campaign playtest system. There's a Discord community here where you can sign up for the playtest if you're interested. Just go ahead and click through onto that and join the team. There's early looks and playtest content for other things on my Patreon, so you can check that out. You don't necessarily have to be a member, but it sure is appreciated. Twitter, there you go. But most importantly right now is the find out more Martial Powers playtest content specifically. If you click on that link, it'll take you right to my Patreon page where it's listed. The YouTube stream is right here right now. Hey guys. Otherwise, you can click on the Martial Powers link. And this is a read-only document for people checking out the system up on Google Docs. I of course have editing access. If you click to gain access and request access for editing and copying, right? Like you can't copy it, you can't paste it, you can't edit it. But if you click the request to do that, I've got to assume you're interested in receiving notifications and updates about this. So just bear that in mind. And if you're not interested, you can unsubscribe when you get an email. But now on this page, you see it's a 101 page document at this point. I'm going to drop out of that and instead come over here. We've got our template for building out our characters here, and the stat line that we're using is 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6. It's the standard array that I like to use because it gives you both strengths and weaknesses, and you have to choose where they're going to be. We're building a Golgari Ranger. We've already built a Demir Rogue Soul Knife. We've built a Boros Paladin Oath of Glory. And we've already built an Azorius Fighter Battle Master. These have all been really freaking fun to build. But I'm really looking forward to creating the Swarmkeeper today. So let's see. I've already plucked out a lot of data that was needed. The Golgari spelllist, of course, Rangers are both half casters as well as can channel martial power. Martial power follows the half casting progression as well. So in the case of a paladin or a ranger, when you get your stack of powers, you could swap any of them for known spells, up to you. Oh yeah, speaking of which, when we last left our team, last time we had the Boros Paladin. I had taken the regeneration power, but as a fun example of being able to just freely mix and match spells and powers, here's our final array. We get for free from Boros Firebolt and Sacred Flame cantrips. We got from the Oath of Glory, we got Heroism and Guiding Bolt, which are really useful. And then from the Boros First Rank kit that we have up above, there's Radiant Strike and Dire Impact. Dire Impact lets you add basically your proficiency bonus to damage that you deal. And Radiant Strike allows you to deal extra radiant damage on hit, kind of like a smite power. So I just wanted to show that little juggling here of spell, like Cure Wounds. The Charge exploit lets you avoid. Charge gives you an advantage, gives you a bonus to hit a target that you attack immediately after finishing your movement of moving in a straight line at least 10 feet. It also does not provoke attack opportunities while you move during your turn. It'll cost you a point to use that, and we have it currently assigned to white. There's Cure Wounds. You know what Cure Wounds is. It's a first level spell. It's also a white magic, so we keep it there. And then there's Goad, which is a maneuver. So you point and click at somebody, and it's a red. You spend a point of red mana, and that creature gets an intelligence saving throw, and if it fails to save, then it can only attack you. Otherwise, it's at disadvantage, and that remains in effect until it can overcome with an intelligence saving throw, or it can successfully hit you. Either way. Life Stealing adds 1 power die of temporary hit points. For every power die that you roll to deal damage, you get that many points of temporary hit points to stack on top of your character to tank with. And hold on real quick. Right, in our power progression table, at first level you're rolling d6s, 9th level you're rolling d8s, and at 17th level you're rolling d10s, and a paladin always gets to roll an extra power die whenever you spend mana on a strike. If I spend 1 mana on a first rank strike to deal life-stealing strike, it'd be a d6, but since I'm a paladin, I get an extra d6 on top of that. So whenever a paladin were to spend 1 mana to use the life-stealing strike power with either white or red magic, is that how that works? No, using white magic, because we devoted strikes and exploits to white magic. We devoted reactions and maneuvers to red magic, and sustained is devoted to both of them. And then we broke up our mana pool. At 3rd level, we have 6 mana that we regain on a long rest. So for the paladin, we broke that up into 4 white and 2 red, because we get maneuvers for free if we sacrifice our attack roll and use a bonus action to trigger a maneuver. Then that maneuver becomes 0. It becomes a cantrip, basically 0 cost. So we don't have much use for red mana currently. So all of our exploits and strikes eat into the white mana, which is where we devoted the majority of our mana right now. As we gain levels and get more mana, we can afford to diversify more as we stretch out and increase the options to use our action economy with. So, having ran over that real quick, let's look at our Golgari Ranger. I'm calling Thrykreen a crawl. So this is going to be a Kreen Ranger, part of the Golgari Swarm. Ranger, Swarmkeeper. I'm going to make it a finesse fighter. So it's going to have a stat line of Strength 10, Dex 16, Con 12, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 14, and Charisma is 6. This is before stat modifiers. I think the Kreen's Charisma will drop even further. So I could end up juggling that around, but just off the cuff, this is how I'd want stats arrayed. I already know I want to go Swarmkeeper because it's the Golgari Swarm, and I want to make something fun and iconic. Ranger is a very iconic martial for the Golgari Swarm. Golgari Swarm is focused on black and green magic, recycling the waste and the bodies and the lost souls of the Ravnica world to serve purpose for society and the Swarm specifically. So, we're going to have 4 powers that we gain. We've got 6 mana. We've, looks like, I'm not going to assume how much of each is going to be devoted, but let's go through some of the features. We have a favorite enemy, which is going to be replaced with the Mark of Prey, which we'll get into when we get into it. The Natural Explorer. So in the Rubble Belt campaign, if you've been checking the stream out on my Saturday design stream, there's 5 colors: white, blue, black, red, green. That the characters can be traversing through during the Westmarch Hex Crawl. So each land tile is a different type of land, different color. Your ranger can become a natural explorer, selecting any one color that you want. And there's also 3 levels of elevate. There's 3 levels of elevation. There's flat, there's elevated, and then there is a sunken. It sinks into the earth. Toppled spires and towers and skyways would be up, as well as mountains that you could climb, and then there's relatively flat land. So elevated, sunken are 2 types of land, and then there's the 5 white, blue, black, red, green, which represent plains, islands, plains, islands, swamps, mountains, and forests. And you can mix and match the two together. So like a black-green tile, which is Golgari, would be like a swampy forest, or a very overgrown, like an overgrown swamp, or it could be a forest that's sunk into the undercity that remains beneath the ruined rumble belt. So so the natural explorer, in this case, we've taken the elevated terrain, because just off the cuff, the Golgari, what the Golgari get is they get proficiency in a poisoner's kit, they get nature and survival as skills, they get two languages that they're proficient with. I took Kroll in common, and then the Golgari feature of Undercity Paths is translating it to the Rubble Belt. While you're out of combat, you can gain double move. You can move twice. You have twice your movement, or rather are unaffected by the difficult terrain of sunken areas, which is appropriate for the subterranean nature of the black magic that Golgari is aligned with. And so that removes sunken as an option, because you effectively kind of get fast movement in sunken areas just for being Golgari. But then mix that with a natural explorer of elevated terrain. This particular character, it takes 5 hours to explore a 10-mile tile in this format of Rubble Belt campaign that we're running. And if it's elevated terrain or sunken terrain, it doubles the time taken, because you're traversing. You're on inclines of varying degrees, vertically up and down. So you have instead of taking 5 hours to explore a 10-mile tile, it takes 10 hours to explore a 10-mile tile if it's elevated or sunken. So the Golgari Swarm automatically has double movement inside a sunken terrain. And then as a ranger with our natural explorer, we also have now selected the elevated terrain. So regardless of what type of land terrain it is, your character is going to be able to, as part of it, when you have this ranger on your team, you'll be able to explore any type of tile at 5 hours. So you can always get through 3 tiles per day in 5-hour periods. Normally a character in a sunken or elevated tile, it takes 10 hours to explore and resolve one of the elevated or sunken tiles, while a flat tile only requires 5. So you have to kind of parse your day on where you're moving around and whether you're securing your area at night to avoid being attacked in the evening. And as you build, and you see this on Saturday, that we're building these progressing tiles, and there's flat pathways that lead through them that you can, if you need to navigate to a place, you can weave your way between sinkholes and toppled towers to get to where you need to be across the terrain. So it's a fun way to be able to break up movement and challenges. Each colored tile has different threats, has different creatures, hazards, and magical enchantments that are devoted to the same colors as that tile, that will help create diversity in what kind of threats you're facing from tile to tile over the course of the day. So, and with 5 hours, you can pace it so you have 2 or 3 encounters or challenges per tile. Build in a short rest with it before you move on to the next tile. So every 5 hours, you're going to have 2 or 3 challenges, and at the end of it, you're going to have a short rest before you move on to the next tile, refilled with your short rest resources to face another 2 or 3 tiles as you progress through the environment. So we're building characters to deal with those threats as they arrive as a team, as a scout team. So Golgari, Swarmkeeper, Thrycreen, favored enemy, Sea Mark of Prey. Elevated terrain is our natural explorer feature. We have double movement in sunken terrain already because of the Undercity movement feature. The natural explorer, of course, you get advantage in intelligence and wisdom checks related to these terrains. You can move at normal speed instead of difficult terrain. You can't get lost inside the tile unless it's something magical that's causing it. If you're by yourself, you have stealth at advantage. And then you can get twice the result of foraging if you spend time to forage inside of a tile. And then when you're tracking something, of course, you can learn, aside from just knowing that something came through here and which direction they went, you'll know how many of them, how big they were, and how long ago it was. The optional class feature, Canny, gives you the ability to speak and read, write, become literate in 2 additional languages. So the array of languages that we currently have are Common, Kroll, Elfin, Draconic. Let's see, there's a fighting style, and we're going to pick that up and drop that down in the channeling feature options because we have special fighting styles that we're going to look at here in a moment. We got spellcasting at 1st level using this system, and you can pick between powers and spells as you please. Primeval awareness, it costs 2 mana. You spend 2 mana, and within the area, an area is 10 miles while a region is 10 miles. So if you are, while you are within an area, the 10-mile area, you can detect, you can confirm the presence of aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. That costs you 2 mana to do that. And if the larger region is devoted to the same color as your character, there's regions which are 30-mile blocks broken into a grid of 3x3 squares that are 10 miles apiece. So that's where those 5 hours of travel time and exploration comes from, because it's the 10-mile block inside of a larger 30-mile block. Under normal circumstances, your team can traverse one color region per day, and then one area within each region as a short rest, typically. So, what are we looking at? Right, primal awareness. If this Golgari character, which is black and green, if the 30-mile region that your characters are inside of when you use primeval awareness, you'll become aware of these creature types in all the tiles, all 9 tiles within the region that you're operating inside of. So that's cool. And then the conclave that we chose is Swarmkeeper. So here's the channeling features that we get. We have some distinct features that we've gained. Let's go up here. Let's see. Ranger, Golgari. Let's take this down to the Ranger. This playtest is right here for you guys. We're currently down here. We're going through the fighter subclasses. We go through the monk subclasses. That'll jump us down into the Ranger, right? Nope, Paladin, and then after Paladin is the Ranger. Here we go. So, Rangers get a slew of extra features. Empowered maneuvers. When you make an attack action, if you sacrifice an attack and then use a bonus action to channel a maneuver, that maneuver reduces the cost by 1 down to potentially 0 as a cantrip. So we have some maneuvers. Do we have any maneuvers picked out here yet? I don't think... nope, we don't have any maneuvers yet. So, but if we were to select some maneuvers, again, if we spend our... If we were 5th level and we had 2 attacks, if we reduce the amount of attacks during our attack action to 1, we would still be able to channel a maneuver at 0 mana as our bonus action. If we sacrifice both of our attacks during an attack action, we could then channel a 2nd rank power with 0 mana. So that's super useful, and love having that. So, channeled features is the empowered maneuvers. A ranger fighting style. Mark of Prey is 1st level. I need to move fighting styles to 2. Hold on. Let me pick this up. Hold on. This is where I want to be. Mark of Prey. Okay, so let's see. Mark of Prey. It replaces favored enemy and the Hunter's Mark spell. So if you're using the system, don't use either one of those things. Use Mark of Prey instead. As a class feature, first level, replaces Hunter Mark, favorite enemy, as well as favored foe, optional class features. Starting at first level, you gain 1 point of temporary mana that can be used as a bonus action to mark a creature that you can see as prey. You can tap or lock this mana to sustain Mark of Prey as a first level power, and while sustained, you can use a bonus action to mark a different creature as your prey. This is a concentration effect, but and you can maintain concentration for as long as you can keep it. If you start a long rest, you automatically end concentration because you have become incapacitated and unconscious. That ends the concentration condition. So you can maintain concentration for however long you can sustain it. Every time you make a saving throw or you take damage, it's going to weigh against the DC, which is going to be 10 plus the amount of mana tapped, which is 11. So you'd have to make a DC 11 saving throw. Anytime you make a saving throw, you check your concentration first and then determine if you succeeded your saving throw or not. So if I had to make a charisma saving throw and I rolled a 13, whether I succeeded or not, that's above 11. I'm able to sustain my Mark of Prey even though I may fail the saving throw of whatever the effect is. Then maybe I make a Constitution saving throw because I took 20 points of damage. Then that's going to be half of that damage would be 10, which is less than the DC 11. So you'll still make a DC 11 on your Constitution saving throw, and as long as you rolled at least an 11, you'll be able to maintain concentration on your spell. If you were targeted with a disintegration spell and you succeeded the saving throw, you wouldn't have to make a second saving. You wouldn't have to check your concentration again from the damage that you take from disintegration because you've already successfully saved against that spell. We aren't going to make it double just because it causes damage as well. Same thing with a fireball. You save for half damage. If your concentration is maintained after dodging the fireball, then we're not going to make you double save to not take damage again, to not let the damage taken from the fireball screw you up because you've already prepped yourself against the damage from the saving throw against the fireball initially already anyway. So there's how that works. Sorry, I've got a thing in my eye here real quick. Alternatively, you can lock it. If you lock the concentration effect, you no longer have to concentrate it at all. It remains active until you become incapacitated and unconscious, or it's dispelled. That can happen too. But for the most part, it can't be countered. It could be dispelled, though. But it'll remain... But once you lock it, you don't have to maintain concentration anymore. But it reduces the amount of mana you can spend on an ability by 1. And at first level, you only have 1 point of mana that you can spend. So if you're going to maintain and lock Mark of Prey, you can't use mana anymore, which makes your ability to have a zero-cost maneuver by... exchanging an attack for your bonus action to channel the maneuver costing 0 mana is super useful because that gets around this limitation here. So you can still use maneuvers. So we're going to want to lean into maneuvers until we're 5th level when we start opening up our plate. But what's some of the other cool shit we can do? So you can, while you're maintaining or while this effect is sustained, whether locked or maintaining concentration, while the effect is sustained, anytime you hit another target with a weapon attack, you can then use your bonus action to damage, swap to that target being your prey. But it's still going to use a bonus action until higher levels. But when you hit when you hit your marked prey with an attack roll, you deal your normal weapon damage, and you can reduce the cost of a strike power by 1 mana. So that you can so you can deal extra damage and trigger an effect against your marked prey without using any mana. So you can afford to lock Mark of Prey. You'll still be able to do 1 mana strikes against creatures, and you'll still be able to use maneuvers for additional action economies. So you still have a very wide array of stuff that you can do, and we're probably going to want to lean into that for this build. So your Mark of Prey, and then when you hit a prey mark, you gain advantage. Oh, Jesus Christ! You gain advantage on attacks as well as intelligence, investigation, and insight, perception checks, and you get the smite. So wow, that's really good. Bonus action to mark prey reduces. Advanced intelligence, wisdom, insight, perception, survival checks. Reduce cost of strike against prey by 1 mana. Minimum 0. There. And we'll pick out some strikes. We want some strikes because of this. And we're going to want some maneuvers because of this. And since we're not 5th level yet, we might just buy a bunch of extra feats. We'll see. We'll see what we want. Let's see. Fighting styles. So there's 2 unique fighting styles that are available to the ranger, as well as the normal array of stuff. And you can pick up any of these by spending a power. You'll get 4 at... Keeping in mind here that we'll get at 3rd level, we have 4 powers that we can choose. And those powers can either be mana costing powers like disciplines of sustained, exploits, maneuvers, reactions, or strikes, or they can be feats. And there's a stack of feats that you can learn as powers. You don't if they're half feats, you don't get the advantage the stat gain. You don't get that, but you get the other perks from the feat. So let's see. So you could choose any style, any fighting style you want as a feat to pick up off of a power if you wanted to. But there's some unique fighting styles that I think are super crisp. So rangers have short list of fighting styles they can choose, which is normally archery, defense, and dueling. But martial powers provides 2 additional fighting styles unique to rangers: dual wielding and ranged prowess. You can choose 1 fighting style at 2nd level, and you can spend feats or powers gained as a ranger to learn from these fighting styles as well. So there's 2, ranged prowess and dual wielding. I'll look at ranged prowess first, because that's not the one that we're going to immediately choose. We could pick them both. Ranged prowess. You can channel strikes through. Okay, so normally if you're going to do a strike, which is basically like a smite, right? Like a divine smite, or any of this, like banishing smite, or burning strike, branding strike, blinding strike, blah blah blah, thundering strike. All these different strikes, all these different smites have been converted into strikes, which we have on our master list of strikes down here, which we'll get to in a minute. So normally you can only do those with melee weapons, which means weapons that you're holding or weapons that you throw that were melee weapons. But with ranged prowess, and if you wanted to, you can't use it with ranged weapons like bows, crossbows, slings. You can't use it at all normally, except if you take ranged prowess or you learn a sustained power that lets you channel strikes through ranged fired weapons. So, ranged prowess. You can channel strikes through ranged weapons at normal range and thrown weapons at far range. So this eliminates the archer problem using strikes. So you become a really good hunter at this point. And normally thrown weapons only allow for powers to be triggered within normal range, but this allows you to do so at far range by picking up ranged prowess. At 6th level, we'll eventually get this. We can make opportunity attacks with thrown weapons and ranged weapons against targets that are within 10 feet, as though we were wielding a melee weapon with reach. That is fucking great. It's effectively holding a pole arm to be able to pop things 10 feet away. It's awesome. Starting at 11th level as a ranger, you can channel strikes through a ranged weapon at far range as well as close range. Or normal range. So that's fantastic. That is actually worth picking up, and we probably will. Actually, I'm going to just go ahead and pencil that in right now. Let's drop down to Golgari, archetype features, prepared. We're going to go with ranged prowess, ranger style. The other one we're going to take is dual wielding. This replaces 2-weapon fighting for those, if you're a ranger and you have access to it. And granted, you'll have access to it at 2nd level. So dipping a ranger, if you're into that stuff, isn't a bad idea. And we freely allow you to multi-class and encourage you to do so if you want. So when dual wielding weapons, you can use any 2 one-handed melee weapons you're proficient with or unarmed attacks without penalty. using the attack action with one weapon and a bonus action with the other. And then, starting at 6th level, when using extra attacks, you can choose to attack with either weapon. So you have your attack, your bonus action, and when it comes to your extra attacks, you can use either one freely. Starting at 11th level, when you hit with a melee weapon attack, you can use your bonus action to automatically hit with the second weapon, combining the damage dice and bonuses of both weapons together. If the attack is ranged, both weapons must be thrown to benefit from this option. But this allows you to use your bonus action as part of an attack to automatically hit. When you hit with a weapon, you can use your bonus action to automatically hit with the second weapon. There you go. Combining the dice, you don't have to make the attack roll. Combining the dice and bonuses of both weapons together. There you go. So that's some cool stuff. It simplifies two-weapon fighting. It smooths it out. There's still choppiness for other classes, like having to worry about what the offhand weapon is and how big is it, and is it a finesse weapon, and what bonuses. Fuck all that. No, it's just dual wielding. It's just very flat and simple, and with additional perks as you gain levels. So, choice. So we're going to take dual wielding. That's resolved. We have our mana, which is going to be black and green. I honestly don't know which two disciplines are going to go to each color. So we're going to leave that blank for now. We do get a power die of D6, and we gain 4 powers. Is that all we have for now? Yeah, that's everything. So then we can erase this. Now we can get into the archetype features. We're going with Golgari. We're going with the Swarmkeeper for sure. So let's go visit Swarmkeeper. Here's Swarmkeeper, and here's the Golgari. Golgari got a bunch of cool shit. Now you got the underground movement speed thing. You get proficiency in nature and survival. You gain tool proficiencies and poisoner's kit, and you can choose one. You start with a language, which is Kroll, because I'm a Kreen, and then I get to choose one, which is Elvish or Giant. I chose Elvish. And then I get my poisoner's kit. I get a pet spider, which I can then convert into a swarm, right? Because I'm a swarm keeper. And I got some roost shit. I got my undercity paths for fast movement while in submerged regions. And then I got my spell list. I get cantrips, which are dancing lights and spare the dying, which I'm happy to snatch up. Those are great spells. And then the 2 first level spells that exist are Entangle and Ray of Sickness. So if I'm going to lock sustaining Mark of Prey, I'm not going to be able to use Entangle or Ray of Sickness. So I'm going to skip those. I could pick them up later if I wanted to. I could opt in. I could swap them in as things. Plus I'm a spellcaster, so I can choose any spells that I want. But for my bonus spells, instead, I'm going to choose Restraining Strike and Poisoner. So restraint, and let's go ahead and take a look at what these things do. Scroll on down to the page where we found. Ooh, wait. Hunter. Nope. We want Swarmkeeper. There we are. Swarmkeeper. Let's see. Golgari. Golgari gives us Restraining Strike and Poisoner, right? There we go. Let's scroll up then to Restraining Strike. Here's a list of powers, exploits, modify die rolls and movement, and other action economy. Maneuvers. It can be channeled as a standard action or a bonus action, including both during the same turn, and the same power both times if you wanted to. Reactions are what you think they are. There's either just a general reaction, like modifying your die roll if you fucked up or something like that. And then there's opportunity attacks, like disrupting somebody's spell by hitting them in the side of the head. That's an opportunity attack. Bait and switch, switching positions with another player. That can be an opportunity attack. And characters can gain multiple opportunity attacks during a turn if you kit into it. So distinguishing an opportunity attack from a reaction is actually important to do. Strikes, we were talking about like smite spells. Taking a look at, for instance, the Restraining Strike, your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. And we know at third level, we're using a D6. So the damage I deal is going to be an extra D6. And the creature is restrained until it's automatically restrained. It doesn't make a saving throw. It's just restrained. And you already had to try to hit to be able to trigger the effect. So you're going to deal damage, and you're going to spend mana to do a kicker effect to deal more damage. On top of it, up 1 die per mana spent, up to 5, of course. And then the kicker effect. The kicker effect here is restrained. You make a saving throw at the end of each. So it gets hit with it. It's restrained its first turn. At the end of that turn, it can make a strength saving throw to break out of it. And creatures, of course, have legendary saving throws, or legendary saves, legendary reactions, which are auto saves, which can be spent on these things. So it's easy for you to burn through their mana resource, their encounter resources to be able to knock them down using these abilities. So that your important spells that require saving throws can actually stick. Meanwhile, this guy's restrained for a turn. If he wants to burn a saving throw, or is lucky to roll a strength save high enough to end it, it just ends. And if you're size large or larger, you roll with advantage. So you get that one for free for just being on Team Golgari. And then you get the Poisoner feat. We have a stack of feats down here that you get that you can pick up as a power instead of something that spends mana. You just get it for free. So let's go take a quick look at the Poisoner feat. You know, let's go to Poisoner feat. This is going to be fucking cool. You're going to love this. You can prepare and deliver deadly poisons, granting you the following benefits. You make a damage roll that... When you make a damage roll that deals poison damage, it ignores resistance and poison damage. So we're going to pick up poison as a wait, is poison a first rank damage type, or am I going to have to take Poisoner feat and pick it up later? Let's take a look and find out. Hold on. Meta powers, damage types. Poison is a basic damage type, so we can take poison at first level. So I can choose at any time I deal damage, this character can deal poison damage because that's a power I learned. Poison damage, basic damage. So now that I have the Poisoner feat, I can always choose to deal poison damage when I hit. And when I do, and that includes my weapon, my powers, when I deal striking damage, and any added benefits that I get from it. It can be pretty fucking tough. So what does this thing do again? It ignores resistance. So you have to be immune to this to be able to overcome it. There's an exploit that overcomes immunities. So hold on, let me go find that real quick because that sounds compelling right now. Let's see. It's I think it's a reaction. Curse of Exposure. As a reaction to a creature within 30 feet taking damage, if the creature is resistant to the damage, it can't benefit from resistance to the damage rolled. Alternatively, if it's immune to the damage, it is instead only resistant. And using the Poisoner feat, if you're resistant to poison, you aren't resistant at all. So Curse of Exposure, by spending a point of mana as a reaction, when I hit something that's immune to poison as a poisoner, using poison damage as a damage type, I can spend a point of mana as a reaction and remove that creature's immunity and cause normal damage and force it into the immune condition, poison condition, which is fucking intense. So Curse of Exposure, we're gonna take that. That's personally, I think that's awesome. Explosion. First rank reaction. I don't know the color yet. We're gonna have to pick the colors. Spare the Dying, Dancing Lights. Yeah, I don't know what color we're going with Restraining Strike yet. That's a green sort of a restraint. The entangling is sort of a green effect. Curse of Exposure is black in like narratively, like the Ludo narrative, black energy being poison and being cursing. That makes a lot of sense. But neither one of these things actually require mana at all. So I'm thinking let's go with Curse of Exposure being black, and let's go with Restraining Strike being green. Let's go with that for now. So black and green, those are conflicting. Reactions, no. Reactions, strikes. We'll see what else there is. We only get one more thing. So, okay. This is... We might just take a feat and not have to worry about it. You know, to stay in flavor with... like, if we're attacking things, we're dealing poison damage to our marked targets, and then we run across a creature that's immune to poison, we could drop... we could burn the point of mana and then reactivate, just as a concentration effect, the Mark of Prey. We'll lose a point of mana in the process, but we'll get it back on a short rest anyway, so who cares? We'll have 6 mana on top of it, so we can just blow a point of mana and we're fine. So, if we ran across something that was immune, we could then drop the permanized effect, make it just sustained with concentration. That frees up that channel so that we can use reactions on top of strikes with our Mark of Prey. So we'd be able to spend only 1 mana to cause that creature to become completely exposed to the damage that we deal. We hit them with a reaction, they'll now take full damage. That's pretty choice. I like that a lot. Let's see. We should look at what the class features are for the Swarmkeeper before we move on. Got that. Okay, gathering swarm. So we've modified all of these things to better calibrate with the martial power system. There's gathering swarm and oh, that's all we get. Holy shit. Wow. Okay. That's useful. Oh, we didn't pick our powers yet. Controlled fall and power shield. Holy shit. Oh, no, it's just controlled fall. So controlled fall, which is a reaction 1. And what else does the Swarmkeeper get? I think it's a spell, right? Ah, here we go. Nope. Swarmkeeper magic. There we go. Fairy Fire, Mage Hand. And Fairy Fire. Controlled falls are black. Let's take a look at what Controlled Fall does. Controlled Fall. As a reaction to falling, you can land on your feet instead of prone and reduce the damage taken by 10 times your max rank. So we have max rank of 1 right now. So that means we can reduce the damage by 10. So when we take falling damage, reduce the damage by 10 automatically. Excuse me for a second. I want to check my phone. All right. Controlled Fall is good. And then Fairy Fire. Let's go check out Fairy Fire. So let's go down here. Let's peel open our color magic. Here's our bundle. Here's our revised color mana spell list. It's free. It's a pay what you want, so do what you please. But in the preview here, it has the whole thing. Mage Hand is cantrip, so it doesn't matter what the color is. Fairy Fire. Oh, it's blue. Interesting. For us, it's any color. It becomes any color spell that we please. So if it's on our known list, it's both colors if we wish. For spellcasting, the powers that we learn are whatever color it is that we chose to devote it to, because we choose what color it is. So we don't get in both colors, but we get to choose ourselves which color it's going to be. Strike 1G. Spell 1BG. Poisoner, Dancing Lights, Spare the Dying, Mage Hand. Alright, what other spells are available? There it is. Cool. Alright, so let's go to our Ranger tab. This is in, for those that are interested, this is an editable spreadsheet, right? And this whole spreadsheet has all the spells, only PH spells. It has all the Ravnica spells broken down by color, Strixhaven colors broken down by color, Artificer, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Monk, Way of the Four Elements, Monk, Way of the Shadow, Monk, Sun Soul, the Paladin spells, Ranger spells, Sorcerer spells, Warlock spells, Wizard spells, all of the spells from all of the sources. Here you go. So we're going to look at Ranger, and we're limited to first level Ranger spells. So let's see what cool shit is in the Ranger spell list that we may decide we want to pick up for our Ranger. Cure Wounds is never a bad idea because healing is useful. So let's just fucking take that. That was easy. Cure Wounds. And see, it's a green spell. Wrong list. Here we go. Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds is white magic because divine. There's a lot of healing spells in MTG cards that are white. The other place that you normally see healing spells is green. In the instance that we saw the Fairy Fire spell, right? Not Fairy Fire. Yeah, Fairy Fire. It's a first level spell, but it's on your character's spell list. So it becomes whatever colors your character is aligned to because it's a bonus spell that you gain from your subclass. It overrides the color it's supposed to be, and it becomes the colors that your character has. You can override you can override what color a spell is if you're a spellcaster. You can override any of them if you please by researching the spell downtime to learn the spell separately in a different color than its native color, its native devotion. Like Divine Favor is only in white, but if you worship like Mowgli, which is black and red energy from Theros, right? Or if let's just stick with that one, black and red magic. If I wanted to learn Divine Favor as black and red magic, then I could spend some downtime researching Divine Favor as, say, black magic. And so when I prepared Divine Favor, I don't have to use white magic. I can use black. Alternatively, if I haven't researched the spell, but I still want Divine Favor and I don't have access to white mana because a Mowgli or a Rakdos character wouldn't, for instance, then I could learn it twice. One the way it's supposed to be cast, and then again to modify it to be a color that I want it to be. I could research it as downtime with gold to permanently modify the spell, or I could do so on the fly when I prepare spells at the beginning of each day or whatever, to learn it twice to be able to loop it into, so I can temporarily bond a spell to, devote a spell to the color that I need until I have the downtime to research it into the color I actually want it to be. So downtime is heavily encouraged with this system because I love domain play. So like I said at the beginning of the session, I build tools that I want to use in my campaign. And I build them with my sort of DM philosophy involved so I can start maybe influencing you to think about Dominion and downtime play as part of your campaigns as well. This leans into that. And there's going to be, when we do the updates, when the new Player's Handbook comes out in 2024, we're going to redo all of these books to line up with the tech that's going to be in the 2024 Player's Guide. And that's going to include the updated, like you saw the revised spell list where it had multiple spells. When we originally created this book, each spell was only devoted to one color, and our formatting sucks. There's such a like this stack effect is so much more efficient and concise in information, and it offers you the ability to have multiple colors for each spell if Magic the Gathering rules would warrant it. So this is a much better system. That's why we created the revised color mana spell list in the first place, is because when we built that, I wasn't planning on redoing all of my books. So instead, I made this as a pay what you want, basically free to get, and if you bought the bundle, it reduces the cost of the bundle. So it's a coupon for you to pick it up, but it provides that multicolor stack. And if you pick up the books now, this document, this editable document, is included with all the books in the color mana system, so that you could extract, like if you're playing a ranger, you could take this ranger out of the folder and you could mark, yeah, I know, like right now I know Cure Wounds and Fog Cloud and Healing Spirit, and I want to make, well, Fog Cloud, and they all happen to be green, but let's say I want to make Cure Wounds. I modify it for Golgari so it's black, so I can use any mana I have available to always help cure my allies. I can make that change if I wanted to, unique to my character. So this is a real easy way for you to be able to keep an eye on what do you know and what have you changed it to. Or like you could do what was it, like Cure Wounds. We could do B, like that, to show that you've learned it to be black. It normally wouldn't be, and actually doing lowercase is better because it helps differentiate it from like it stands out. So if you were to downtime learn Cure Wounds as a black spell, you'd always be able to cast it as green anyway, but you'd no longer have to use white, and you can instead use black. So you can modify your own spell sheet. So if you pick up these books, not this one, that one, this is pay what you want. It's just the Player's Handbook spells. But the Player's Handbook spells are on the list. You would get, with that free thing, you get the play what you want list here, and this is included in the download. But if you want the full Monty, you want to pick up this entire bundle and get all these books that have the full all spells list included with it, and that's a really useful utility. And it also comes with color mana tokens and a unique color mana playmat for you to be able to tap and untap mana to keep track of all that stuff. So you can use tokens. You can move tokens around visually and physically instead of using tick marks or like writing things down. I find a stack of mana or even like land cards from actual MTG are a lot more fun to use than just hash marks. For reference, I mostly play online with Roll20, but when I'm in Neat Space and we were doing playtesting for this stuff, I bought a shitload of Chessex dice in different. Hold on. Yeah, all in different colors. I have white, blue, black, red, and green 6-sided dice. So I would just have a stack of dice, and like when I was throwing a fireball, I could throw red dice. I could throw red D6s because I had a red mana pool to throw my fireball with. If I'm playing a Sun Soul, if I'm playing a Sun Soul monk with white and red mana, then I could use that radiant damage fireball as white mana or red discipline points, either one, because I have access to both of them. But I love the physicality of the D6s, but I also love the little poker chip tokens that we have as downloadable cutouts that you can photocopy and cut out for yourself, or of course land cards from Magic the Gathering as well. Those are all great options for keeping your stacks lined up. But I think the dice is the easiest way for you to be able to visualize what it is exactly you're doing with your mana pool. That and mana tokens, I think, are best for you to be able to manipulate stuff. But that's just my opinion. You pick it up and figure it out for yourself. Tell me if there's something that you prefer that's different. I'd love to hear it. Let's see, where are we at? We're almost done, actually. So we have the Poisoner, we have Restraining Strike, We picked up poison damage itself, so we can do restraining strike with poison damage if we wanted to. That's right, we picked up cure wounds spell. We know it as 1 green. And oh, that's right, we were looking at the swarm features. Great. So let's look at that again real quick, and then we'll be done. So let's see. Gathering Swarm, third, alternate Gathering Swarm feature. A swarm of intangible nature spirits have bonded itself to you and can assist you in battle. While you're alive, the swarm remains in your space, crawling on you or flying or skittering around you within your space. You determine its appearance, or you generate its appearance randomly. Golgari, yo. Determine appearance. Let's go with when you hit your marked prey. So you have to have something marked as your prey, right? When you hit your marked prey, your swarm can assist you. Choose 2 combat masteries in Chapter 3. You can use either effect as part of the damage you deal to your marked prey, in addition to any strike power you channel through marked prey. Holy crap, that's action. You can choose new masteries when you gain a new ranger level. So, okay, so masteries are like... the combat masteries are like weapon masteries, but they're proficiencies, like skills. You can use them with any weapon you're proficient with, not just the weapon they were built for. But you can't channel strikes when you use a combat mastery. It replaces the strike power. So you can't double dip, but the swarm allows you to double dip. That's a special feature, which is why you have to use Mark of Prey. So there's a limitation. There's more risk of having limitation of use, but there's more reward. I'm going to definitely take Step, because you can shift your position 5 feet without provoking an opportunity after a successful hit. So if I hit, I can shift 5 feet. That is amazing. What am I looking for? Here. Gathering Swarm. On hit, use 1 combat mastery. Can use with strike. When you hit your marked prey. And so we're going to go with Step. And what's the other one we want? Push is good. Addle, which is target make a Constitution saving throw, or it cannot make an opportunity attack until the end of the next turn. Disarm, target makes a strength saving throw, or object is held, dropped in an adjacent 5-foot square. Grapple, which is melee only. Target is grappled. Target is grapple is thank you is grappled in addition to taking damage. Push, target makes a strength saving throw or is pushed away 5 feet. Step, we just took that 5-foot step thing. Straggle, target makes con save or speed is reduced by 10 feet. Target makes dex save. Let's do is reduced by half. Minimum 5. Potentially 0. Trip, dexterity save or is prone. And if you're large, your size huge or larger, you're not affected. Vex, which is target makes intelligence saving throw or is at disadvantage on their next attack roll until the end of their next turn. So what do we want? Push, grapple, disarm, addle. Let's go with Straggle. Oops. Easy peasy. Very nice. Oh, shit. We never got through the poisoner. Hold on. I jumped on this tangent and I never finished up the poisoner. Okay, great. So when you're making a damage roll that deals poison damage, it ignores resistance to poison damage, and that's what caused us to pick up the Curse of Exposure. You can apply poison to a weapon or piece of ammunition as a bonus action instead of as an action. And you are proficient with the Poisoner's Kit if you don't already have it. With 1 hour of work using a Poisoner's Kit and expending 50 gold worth of resources, you can create a number of doses of potent poison equal to your proficiency bonus. Once applied to a weapon or piece of ammunition, the poison retains its potency for 1 minute or until you hit with the weapon or ammunition. When a creature takes damage from the coated weapon or ammunition, that creature must succeed a DC 14 Constitution saving throw or take an additional 2d8 poison damage and becomes poisoned until the end of the turn. Here's what's great about this. The Thrycreen, my Krull, it has 4 arms. So it can, in its little hands, they can manipulate tools and hold things. I can use my offhands, my little hands, on my Poisoner Kit, and I can use 2 scimitars. So I can use a bonus action to dip my blade into poison and hit you with it during the same round if I'm not using my bonus action otherwise. And again, it's like a bonus action poison and then hit you and still have 2 weapons. I wouldn't be able to make... the offhand attack would be eaten because of the bonus action, but I'm not always going to be poisoned every round. But an extra 2d8 damage? That's insane! That is really cool. Fucking tight. That is insane. So yeah, I'm definitely taking that. This guy is sick. Just the ability to make immune creatures vulnerable to poison by itself, and then have the Poisoner Kit with the Kreen. Oh, I love this dude. And we took the ranged the ranged prowess. Is that what it's called? Ranged prowess. Hold on. It's a power we picked up. Ranged prowess, that's right, ranger fighting style. So ranged prowess, we can use poison on an arrow and then fire an arrow at something within normal range and be able to ramp it up with a strike power. So, this stuff is cool, man. I am very, very pleased. All right, so that's our Golgari. This guy is sick as shit, man. I am pleased. I am really, really pleased with this guy. So let's look at our color balance real quick. Let's see. We need green. We need black. Black reaction. Curse. It's not like we're going to run across a lot of stuff in the first tier that's immune to poison, but we could. So some stuff. Controlled. So that's black. Controlled fall is black. Those are reactions. I don't think we took a single maneuver. You know what? I love Curse of... granted, we can swap these things out on a long or short rest. If I was going to swap out something, it would probably... well, if I didn't need ranged attacks, I could swap out ranged prowess for... let's swap out... I don't need ranged prowess yet. So let's go ahead and... we can swap that out. We can always pick it up tomorrow if we wanted to, because we can swap out our powers on a short rest, on a long rest, and one of them on a short rest. So that's insane. Let's see, but let's curve into the power system and let's just pick up a maneuver since they're free to use. Well, we're going to be eating our bonus actions so much, it might not be necessary, but it's nice that it would be free. And I really don't think we're going to be fighting against things that are immune to poison at 3rd level. Once we run across them, we can start adding it to our kit, but I'd like to keep that. I'd like to withhold that until 5th level when we gain 2nd rank, so we have more stacking ability. Let's see. First range maneuvers. Let's see if one jumps out at us. It's super cool. Let's see. Coordinated attack, coordinated dash, Curse of Eyeless. Can't hit you. Curse of the Muddled Mind. Ability checks and concentration checks are at disadvantage. Flatten knocks somebody prone. Good makes them focus on you. Rally gives your ally temporary hit points. Regeneration is self-healing. Restraining hold is for grappling. Swift return, nah. You know what? Honestly, let's just leave it. There's no maneuvers here that are jumping out at me as awesome for this character. I could pick one up like for rally or like coordinated dash or like coordinated attacks. If that's the kind of action economy that we need in our team, I could pick it up and I could swap that on a short rest. But I'm really happy with this array right now. So we've got Cure Wounds is green, Restraining Strike is green. We don't necessarily need to spend any mana on Restraining Strikes at this level, and we can change it when we gain a level. So right now it's not really important because we're planning on using Restraining Strike against targets that we're hitting, reducing their speed to 0. Green. It doesn't have to be green. It could be black. Do we want to make it black? Reactions and maneuvers. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with, let's make that black. No, let's leave it green because Controlled Fall is going to be incredibly situational. And Curse of Exposure is going to be incredibly conditional. But Cure Wounds will always be useful. And Fairy Fire is always useful. Restraining Strike is always useful. Those are the only 3 things that we actually need, will likely want to spend mana on. So let's ramp our mana towards green with just a splash in black. Reactions, maneuvers, and reactions. There we go. No, it's exploits and maneuvers. Reactions and strikes. So reactions and strikes is our heavy. So we're going to put 5 points into reactions and strikes and 1 point into exploits and maneuvers. Did we do that right? Hold on. Let's do that. Yeah, let's make our reactions and strikes green. We actually put 0. I don't think we have a single... I don't think we have anything that requires black, right? Yeah, nothing requires black. Holy shit. Okay, great. And if we want to swap out a power to gain an exploit or a maneuver during a short rest, we could then assign some mana to be able to fuel it. So we'll do, yeah, reactions and strikes are green, and exploits and maneuvers are black. We don't have any exploits and maneuvers right now, so we don't need it. Sustain can be either one. The spells that we have and all the powers we have. This is tight, dude. This is super tight. Wow. Okay, that's a great build. That is a great build. We can change our mana on a short rest, but we don't get mana back until a long rest, except for the points spent on Mark of Prey. You get a point of mana, a free extra point of mana during a short rest. It's called a temporary point of mana. It can be any color that you want. It's every color, so color doesn't matter with it. But it's a temporary point of mana that can specifically be spent on Mark of Prey, so you get a free use of it every short rest. If you decide to lock it so it stays on, you're good. If you decide to maintain concentration on it and you either lose concentration somehow by dismissing it or being dinged, then you could activate it. You could channel it again with any color mana that you have. But otherwise, you only get your mana back on long rests. But anytime you mark prey, we don't have any maneuvers that we use currently, but we could get those for free, 0 mana, if we sacrifice attacks and used our bonus action to channel the maneuver. But our special feature as the ranger is that as long as we're attacking our marked prey, then we can reduce the cost of the strike power by 1. And since the maximum ranked power we have right now is 1, that drops the cost to 0, so we can afford to lock our Mark of Prey and still be able to use all of this stuff. Except for, well, we wouldn't be able to use reactions, and we wouldn't be able to use our Cure spell while Mark is locked. So that is a disadvantage that you have, but you would then be able to sacrifice your point, do the stuff that you need, like healing. You could do all your healing that you need, and then you could get your free point of mana back on a short rest to reactivate the channel feature. But you're only 3rd level, so how much are you expected to do? You're doing great. This is sick advantage. Sick shit. So, medium armor. What are our saves as a ranger? And then we're done. Light armor, medium armor. And saves are strength and dex. There we go. Hey, we're done. Nice job, guys. All right, this was fucking fun. This is a cool build, man. I would love to play this character. I would love to play all these characters. They're sick as shit, man. Yeah, that's it for today. So we're going to be back tomorrow in the morning to continue working on environment art for Spelljammer. We'll be off the rest of the day tomorrow, and then back on Thursday. I won't be around Thursday night. I have a birthday to go to, so I won't be around on. Is that right? No, wait. No, I will be. I'll be around on Thursday. That's right. I won't be around tomorrow. I'm never around tomorrow night, so that doesn't matter. The party's tomorrow night, so that's actually going to get in the way of it all. So I'm going to be around tomorrow morning, and then and then on Thursday I'll be around in the morning, and then again in the evening for more Ebron art. And then on Friday, we'll be here in the morning to do more Spelljammer art. At lunchtime to do Gruul Clan. And then we'll be back on Saturday to do the Rubble Belt Hexcrawl development for for the playtest campaign. And then we'll have a video posted on Sunday about something about Spelljammer. I don't know what yet. And then on Monday, we'll be back and do it all again like we did yesterday. So that's it for now. If you think this stuff is cool, or you've seen some of my artwork and you want to see more of it in the future, best way to support the channel right now is pick up some books if you're interested in this stuff. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I go live in the future. So, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you later.